Well, we're all back once again. It's a nice little Monday over here. The week is starting off with some good old red action for crypto and, of course, green action for the real markets. The real markets indeed continue to go up and to the right while people continue to search for the newest, shiniest shitcoin to make me rich overnight, except not realizing that the real opportunities were the friends we made along the way. No, they're right in front of your fucking face. Anyways, I want to say a massive thank you to all the feedback that I received for yesterday's video. It's a very long video. I think it was about an hour and 20 minutes long, going over some very nerdy history. But of course, I was actually really surprised to see that, one, a lot of people actually watch, I mean, compared to what I was expecting, and then two, the feedback alongside of it as well, because that is a topic that I'm really starting to get into a lot more myself, because ultimately, I think that this affects everyone, and it's just information that I really want to be getting out there, because I do think that it is incredibly important, and you need to, I mean, you don't need to do anything, but I think it's just important to understand these sort of things that, you know, they can happen, and they certainly have happened in really not even that long ago of a time. I mean, many of these situations happened during our lifetimes. So it is completely relevant to believe that these are things that we may be experiencing ourselves if we haven't already, because there were several people actually, holy shit, man, it was really enlightening as well, because several people who commented on the video were discussing how, like, they were citizens of the countries that we went over and how it affected them. And it just really puts, you know, a face, or I guess, you know, text to the actual issue. It's like, these are real fucking people, and these are real issues, and it does happen, and there is many reasons to believe why it's probably going to be happening again in a lot of our Western nations, you know, in our lifetime. These are perhaps it is a what's it called, a feature, not a bug. I don't know about that, but anyways, I screenshot the list at the end, gonna tag and post every day to get with the hype. Yeah, man, and that list is not fully exhaustive, to be fair, because there's I really focused on like the major issues that I believe were like pretty much 100% the fault of the government, or at least you could attribute almost all of it to the government overstepping. But there are other issues as well that we could have gone over, other case studies that we could have gone over that, you know, it was more like 50-50 in a sense. Anyways, I see a great question already right out of the side of my eye. It's Max, and Kim says, "What's up, Krown? Has Ethereum Bitcoin found a higher low?" Well, good sir, what's up to you as well? Has Ethereum Bitcoin pairing found a higher low? I mean, without looking at it, I can almost say that that is hopium of the highest degree. Holy shit, man. Let's see. I'm just genuinely curious. Has it found what of a high? It's found a high is what it's found. Like, holy shit, this is where the market's at right now. People are still so accustomed to their shitcoins that they're looking at the first move down as the higher low. There is no indication of this being a higher low. This is a downtrend by the very nature of it, and there is absolutely nothing at all whatsoever fucking bullish about this chart. Yes, I do think that it can bounce back up to those highs that we saw from August, sure, but that doesn't do anything for the longer term trend. This is a down only fucking chart. It has not been in an uptrend since when? Since basically 2017. In fact, even then, it's really hard to say that that wasn't even an uptrend, because that was all a part of the same cycle over here where Bitcoin was coming out of the 2015 slump, and yes, Ethereum did outpace it on that first cycle, as typical for, you know, your altcoin versus Bitcoin pairs. But after that, it's been down only ever since. Throughout 2021 and this cycle as well, it has been lower high after lower high after fucking lower high after fucking lower high. So is this a goddamn higher fucking low? No, it's not. It's down only. It's a piece of shit. Good morning as well. Look, it might bounce here, sure, but even this is a piece of shit downtrend as well. So yeah, man, just showing the ridiculous irrationality of this market. And again, this is probably just a normal person, you know, it's a very fair question to be asking. Is this a higher? I mean, there's nothing low about this. This is not even a low. It's not even a low. It's just fucking continuation. It's just garbage, man. Just fucking more and more garbage. More and more garbage cryptos that we look at. Again, the only real innovation that we've seen in this space is Bitcoin, and everything else is just a highly speculative, mostly garbage project, actually. Anyways, I'm gonna take a sip of this water. Thanks for keeping it real. It's all good, man. Thanks for taking that in stride. Not trying to be a complete dickhead there. Just a little bit of fun in the early morning hours here. But yeah, man. Yeah, is this a higher low? No, absolutely not. I think that you might get another bounce off of this 33 level right here. But ultimately, this thing wants to top out below 5 million Satoshis, which in my opinion should have been a pretty easy target to the upside. But it really is that weak. So, you know, I mean, it did get pretty close, to be fair. But ultimately, yeah. Down only charts continue to go down only. Surprise, surprise. Crazy ideas. You even see people talking about Litecoin as well. I mean, Litecoin, if you want to talk about down only, I mean, holy shit, this is the most down only of down only fucking charts you can find on TradingView. Like, look at this. Just absolute fucking pathetic. It's so pathetic. And this has been around for longer than Ethereum as well. It's been around for one more cycle before Ethereum came around in about 2012 to 2013 over here. And you can see the longer that you hold these things, the more money that you lose. The longer that you hold, the more money you lose. By contrast, when you're in traditional markets, the longer that you hold things, typically the more money you make, assuming it's not an actual piece of shit as well. But again, man, like, most of the stuff in this market is absolute garbage. And guess what? Bitcoin is not necessarily bullish right now. It's not fucking bullish at this moment. It might still be an overall macro bull market, but these shitcoins are already fucking jumping off the goddamn cliff, suiciding here. And I'm glad that YouTube will censor me after using that word. But Bitcoin can easily come down to $100,000 here, still remain within a macro uptrend, and your altcoins commit suicide once again. It's just it's unbelievable that people still believe in this shit, and that there's still a shitcoin shill still around, praising the potential overnight riches that you're likely going to get for investing in XYZ herpity derp coin that, probably doesn't even have a real team to begin with. It's just unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. Anyways, I'll take another sip of this water. Probably pissing off my neighbors as well. But fuck them, man. Their dog was running around in my apartment yesterday. How about that? How about that? No, it's actually really, really nice. It was a beautiful golden retriever. I love golden retrievers. They're the most beautiful and gorgeous and noble of all of the dog kind. And yeah, there's a young one just jumping around in our apartment yesterday. It's a long story. Anyways, I wanted to show a video to start off this stream just because I thought that it was interesting. And I don't know if I can even play it. I'm probably going to get in some way like taken off the internet here by YouTube. But I was watching last night just totally randomly. I searched up ECB, central bank digital currency, because I believe the EU's central bank digital currency is coming out relatively soon. I think it's like starting to pilot at the end of this year, and then they're slating it for like a full-on rollout. I don't know, maybe in like 2028, I think it was, somewhere around there. Anyways, I watched this video right here. It is absolutely hilarious, man. And it goes over a lot of the things that we were speaking about on yesterday's video, actually. Maybe, let me see if I can actually play it. Let's see if it's copyrighted. Hold on one moment. Let me see if it's copyrighted. That'll be the real question. Well, there is a song in it, so that's not going to help. Yeah, maybe that's not going to work. I don't know. Yeah, probably can't actually play. Huh? I can probably play it on mute, I guess, but you guys will have to read along. But yeah, man, I mean, they're going to make it sound like it's super convenient, super this, super that, and it's going to make a lot of sense. And it will be. It will be more convenient. That is the truth of these things. That's how they're going to roll out all this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, man, it only takes one fucking Eurocrat to come in and impose their will, now supported by a very, very, very powerful CBDC. Very powerful in the sense that, well, they can shut you off as soon as they fucking want, man. I used to think that all of this stuff was just like tinfoil hat conspiracy nonsense when I was first told about it, maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. In the past few years, I am 100% on board. And it's not even that like conspiracy-like anyways at this point. Because at the end of the day, man, it really will only take one person. It'll only take one of these unelected fucking Eurocrats to fuck it up for everyone else. And by the way, it's going to be coming to the U.S. as well. I mean, it's very unlikely that the U.S. is not going to follow suit at some point. Yeah, Trump probably doesn't do it, but at some point there's going to be someone from the left side of the political spectrum who gets in, and they're very likely going to be in alignment with this. And of course, that means we're going to have it as well. But the real question is, will you also be able to use the old CORNs? Because CORN's going to be more like the free or the freedom version of these these things, whereas the CBDCs will be the controlled version of these things. Maybe that'll even help some Bitcoin adoption at that point too. Maybe people will wake up at that point. But who knows? I mean, probably not. Probably not. Anyways. Bearish hell, says 773 Arya. All good, man. We are all moving towards a technocracy. Technocracy I can live with. I wouldn't want to live with a fucking bureaucracy, though. I honestly would trust... Okay, if you have to choose between the two, would I choose basically the technocrats, the business owners who have in some way actually earned, what they have, they've actually proven competency in some regard, versus bureaucrats and Eurocrats, these elected officials who are mostly just childless cat ladies who know fuck all about business, who know fuck all about running anything, in like an efficient manner. Who would I trust more? I mean, it's not ideal, but it's certainly a better choice in my opinion. The technocrats is probably who I'd be siding with in that equation, in that scenario. Hopefully, it doesn't actually come to that, but yeah, if that's what it comes down to, that's who I'd be siding with, I suppose. But then again, we're probably very, very far away from that still, or at least hopefully at least more than 3, 4, 5 years away. So we shall see. We shall see indeed. Anyways, as you can see right here, I got my Bitcoin long-term investment tool on the board right now. This one, I've highlighted the settings to find Bitcoin macro lows. Obviously, you're not going to get any signals in this current segment over here because we're not at a macro low, a macro low area at all. It's basically around the macro highs right now. But I do want to announce that we're actually be offering this up as its own individual script, its own individual indicator. Yes, I've already given out my settings for this for Bitcoin macro lows. We'll also be going over a few other sort of hypothetical settings that you can apply to it, depending upon your proclivities for how you would potentially want to invest as a long-term investor. And we'll also introduce sell signals as well. But yeah, we're going to introduce that as its own indicator probably later this month. We need to make it a little bit more presentable in the meantime and add a few more things. But we have been listening to a lot of the feedback because originally this was only part of the Krown Trading Bible program. Now we're just going to offer it up as its own thing because a lot of people, they already know trading or they just don't have any interest in learning from that regard. And fair enough. And so they have requested this on its own. So we shall oblige in that way. Anyways, other than that, let's go check out some traditional marks before we get into the actual content of this stream. Some Bitcoins analysis. First, starting off with some SPY futures over here. And SPY futures, again, I want to acknowledge that the monthly did close on new all-time highs yet again for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th month in a row. Amazing. We have kind of what would be a fresh breakout to new all-time highs as of this was July. And this still continues to look up and away to me. I don't think that the highs are in just yet. I think that it's going to continue to be another, some new all-time highs, maybe in November, maybe in December, but definitely before end of year. And then, I don't know, after that, who the fuck knows? But still, overall bullish, new all-time highs, never not bullish in my book. In the short term, can we see a bit of a pullback here to open up this week? Maybe, maybe it comes back down, fills that gap, reconnects with the 5 EMA on the weekly at 68.11. But ultimately, I'd be looking at that as yet another higher low on probably your daily, and very likely, upside to continue after that. Again, when you're in traditional markets, I know it feels like you're always standing on the side of a cliff, on the side of a fucking cliff, and the cliff is about to, or you're about to fall off the damn cliff. And yeah, at some point that very likely will happen. But again, this is what is kind of relatively a fresh breakout to new all-time highs. So, dips are, in my opinion, for buying. For reference, the last time that this thing freshly broke out to new all-time highs from the 2022 bear market saga, if you can even call it that. I mean, realistically, this was not that bad, historically speaking. Once it actually broke to new all-time highs in January of 2024, it continued to make new all-time highs before the real corrective period about a year and 1 month later in February of 2025, where we got this mega drawdown over here into April. And then what happens after that? It's just more up and away after that as well. So, this market is just, it's built for long-term, short-term traders. Certainly, there certainly is opportunities here. Absolutely. But as you probably, oh, holy shit. Wow. And NASDAQ futures even stronger here already just lifting off for the beginning of this month. Just beautiful, man. Fucking beautiful. If there is a pullback this week, I'd be looking at around 25,500, but I'm not even convinced that that's necessarily going to be happening on this thing. Let's go check out some gold action as well. Just one moment. What's up, Get with the Hype? What's up, During Rambutan? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Dumb BTC, Adil, PD Bitcoin, Janizo, Andreas, and Andrej Podlucky. Up and away indeed, sir. Let's go check out some gold action. And for some reason, I don't have... Why don't I have gold on my list here? I know I have GLD, but I want to see gold spot as well. Anyways, gold just back above 4,000 again. I do think you're about to get your bull trap on gold. Again, I still think that this thing has topped for a long time. It might not be like a macro top, but I think that you're going to be going sideways and down for many months to come. But in the short term, I would be expecting a bounce off of this region right here. So it might come back down to retest this region. Sure, that's fine. Maybe even slightly lower, but I would be now expecting the bull trap, which almost, or I should say almost always comes after a major top, and that should come somewhere in this vicinity right here. I would imagine between about 4150 to 4200, somewhere in that pocket right there. And then if you see any sort of a major rejection, that would be my next major signal that this thing's going to come down, which I think is inevitable, somewhere around 3500 at least. That's what I'd be looking for on potentially the next major low. And then perhaps it does claw its way back up from there. I don't know, but that should take a long time anyways. So yeah, it does look like we've finally seen a high right here. And of course, it comes alongside the rest of the market. No, a lot of the mainstream media and the mainstream sort of content producers calling out how gold is changing everything right now, how gold is at new record highs, which it certainly was, and everything like that. But these sort of things always come at the end of a major move, at the end of a potential cycle as well. I definitely think it's the end of a major move. Maybe it's the end of a cycle as well. I don't know, but I do think that things are generally sideways and downs from here. And the people who are jumping into gold right now are you're late to the game. You're going to probably get it right into the next bull trap. So it's going to feel good for a moment where it bounces up, and then after that, it's going to feel very nasty, like a massive red girthy dildo popsicle is crawling up your bunghole and out through your mouth hole, and now you're tasty. Anyways. Ziggy Henry says, hey, Krown, can you talk about your investment strategy and portfolio? I literally have put out a video on my exact portfolio, in fact, for long-term investing. Should I just... your question is, should I just focus on maximizing Bitcoin ownership or diversify to traditional markets as well? I can't make that decision for you, man. I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I think financial advisors are even good to be listening to be honest with you. What I can say is that everyone's going to have naturally different preferences. I do think that it would be wise to at least have some diversity into equities, and you don't even need to do that much. I mean, you really don't even need to do that much into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's returns generally are higher. But I think, and what I've done, and if you watch that video about my long-term portfolio, yeah, I have a good amount in equities. So yeah, and again, I don't expect them for like amazing returns in the short term, although perhaps I do better than Bitcoin in the short term. But long term, Bitcoin still, I think, is one of the best bets. If not for any other reasons that it just kind of keeps you safe from a lot of the issues, or safer. It's not going to keep you safe, but it keeps you safer from a lot of the issues that we went over in yesterday's video. Because I do think that is rather important. Again, maybe I'm just putting on my tinfoil hat right now, and maybe I sound like a complete fucking lunatic. Maybe I'm that crazy uncle now who's talking about all these conspiracy theories, but I don't know, man. Over the past 5-6 years now, I've seen so much evidence of these things that I don't think it's a conspiracy theory anymore. I think it's very logical thought and very logical conclusions to be coming at things from. So yeah. Anyways, take another few sips of this. What's up, Shipwreck? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. TG Short says, I am bullish on Bitcoin. Should I? I don't know. You're free to make whatever fucking decision you want to make, man. I'm not here to be your dad. Like, do you know how I'm not to be a complete asshole, but do you understand how pathetic that sounds? It's like, hey, daddy, can I make a decision for myself? It's like, of course you can. Like, dude, only you will know. Only you can know the right preferences for, the right decision for yourself, because only you know your preferences best. I can't know that. I don't fucking know you. I know you from one line on a YouTube comment. Now, obviously, I'm reading way too seriously into this, which is probably just like a random comment, which is completely fine to ask. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, think about it. Like, I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what I'm doing, but what I'm doing might be completely wrong. Who the fuck knows? At the end of the day, I've been very happy with what I'm doing. That's why I share what I'm doing. But doesn't mean it's always going to be right, man. Doesn't mean it's always going to be right. And while my portfolio that I did showcase on that YouTube video from, I don't know, this was probably like a few months ago, while it's done incredibly well, that doesn't mean it's always going to do well. But looking at some of the major names here, I can see that today is starting off to be a good day already. So I'll take that. Anyway, let's get into some actual Bitcoin analysis. Let's do a little bit of this action over here. People laughed at Zen also. Yeah, I mean, Zen is it's, I don't even want to say it, man. It's too mean. It's too mean, and I'm being too mean already. All right, let's go over some daily price statistics. Then we'll go over the higher term time frame stuff, but the daily price statistics for Monday does actually favor positive closures versus negative closures. I highly doubt today is going to be a positive closing Monday, however. I do think it's going to be very likely a negative closing Wednesday, and unfortunately, Bitcoin has already played the potential the scalpable play right here that we typically do see. because Bitcoin has traded below the average returns range low for negative closing Mondays, which is one spot 90%. So just under 2%, basically, that would be a price point of 108,500. There was an initial bounce there on the first attempt this morning. That, however, has given way after that initial scalpable event, and coming back down to this region is not a good sign, typically speaking. Again, the first pass, the first test, very high probability for a scalpable bounce. The second pass, significantly less so, to the point where I would say, I personally would not play that. Yes, some people can get away with it, and yes, it does work out sometimes, but the probability of that happening goes down from what I consider to be like 99% probability to fucking less than probably 40, or maybe even less than 30, to be honest. Anyways, now, if Bitcoin really does start to deviate a lot from 108,500, there may be another scalpable play. Perhaps that was even the move down to 106 this morning, as Bitcoin is probably going to be pulled somewhere back close to that, maybe not exactly to that, but closer to that before end of day. But again, this is a nasty setup right here. This is overall not good. If anyone's telling you that this is bullish, yeah, maybe you might get a short-term bounce here and there, but there's absolutely nothing bullish about this sort of price action right here. Overall, like, do I think Bitcoin's going to go back to 120 from here without any sort of further damage to the downside? I think that's heavily unlikely. We'll go over exactly why in a moment, but first things first, let's go over the higher term time frame stuff, because now we have the new monthly opens for November. So we have the monthly and the bi-monthly open for November, and first off, October did close red, but it actually did close above that red 5 EMA. So it does make it a little bit difficult to, to get like just super blindly bearish right now and probably get away with it. Generally I like to see the open of the previous month retested before anything else really happens. And to be fair, the open of October was about 114 and change. So, if Bitcoin does try a rally up there, that's completely fine, maybe even a little bit above there, but ultimately that's what I'd be looking for on any sort of a likely failed trap bounce. But in this case right here, the monthly time frame, as it opens up, is going to be turning down on bearish divergence for the first time fresh since February of this past year. When it turned down in February, Bitcoin played out this move all the way from about 105, 106 down to about 75,000 bucks, a pretty big pullback. Now we're getting the same sort of turn down right here, and we're very likely going to lose the critical zone if Bitcoin does finish the month below the new pivot, and the new pivot is 120,000 US dollars. So I do look at $120,000 as a major line in the sand, meaning that as long as Bitcoin's below there, it's a very easy call for me to just say, I'm not bullish, and I'd generally be favoring the downside. If there's going to be any sort of direction to be traded towards, it'd be the downside. That is the easy direction right now. But if Bitcoin can reclaim that by end of November, okay, that would look pretty good. That would look pretty good for, I guess an explosive run to new all-time highs. But I do still stick with what I've been saying now, that this is a corrective period at best. It's a corrective period at best. And I think that, it's still possible that the market cycle is not necessarily over, but I think that very likely we are going to be experiencing some sideways at best for a while. Now, in this case, the monthly time frame, again, is going to potentially lose a critical zone for the first time in a very, very long time. It also has bearish divergence as well. And on top of this, the bi-monthly time frame is freshly crossing to the downside here too, upon the November open. Now, the new pivot for the bi-monthly is 104,300, and you're probably saying, oh shit, well, it's about to cross up again. Yes, but unfortunately, we have to wait another 2 months until the end of December for this one to close, and a lot can happen between now and the end of December, and there's really good reason to believe that Bitcoin does have general targets in the short term lower than 104. So will that look the same if Bitcoin's below 100,000 bucks? Obviously not, but as of right now, still above. So, perhaps there's some hoping right there. But I do want to acknowledge another major thing here, another major thing that we have not dealt with once during this cycle, which is anytime we have seen the bi-monthly stochastic oscillator cross the downside, it has correlated incredibly well around or exactly at prior macro all-time highs. You can see all of these green vertical bars right here correlated exactly with those cross to the downside. We're seeing the same thing over here again in the critical zone, very, very likely at the end of this month. Now, at the end of December. Now, if December is above 104, hey, that gets rid of that issue, and I guess, it's still very possible that we see another push to new all-time highs. That would be awesome. And I think that is actually possible here. I actually do think that is possible, or at least I'd keep an open mind towards that. But as of right now, you can look at the monthly, you can look at the bi-monthly, and both are, in my opinion, issues as of right now. On top of this, when we go over here to the monthly and look at our RSI oscillator, we can see that there is 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence come off the last few highs. We're talking about the high from March of 2024 connected with the high of January 2025, and then the high again in July of this year, and then again in October on the current all-time high for this year as well. And generally, when I see 3 or more strikes of bearish divergence, the easy target is that yellow 21 EMA. Now that is all the way down at about $89,000. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to hit it this month. In fact, it very unlikely will hit it this month. If it is going to hit it, I think that that's a few months away, or maybe it's like 2, 3, 4 months away. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, that is in there. And on top of that, the bi-monthly time frame as well has the same sort of thing, kind of corroborating that story. You can see right here, the bi-monthly RSI is significantly lower than even the highs of 2021 cycle. So that is a problem there as well. It has not confirmed a local high just yet. But if Bitcoin comes back down below the prior bi-monthly low, which is 103,745, which we actually do have some pretty good reason to believe it will, then that sets in the conditions for the most aggressive means of defining this as a local high. Of course, we'd want to see it close below there if it is actually going to really fire off, and that would have implications for targets lower. But here's the thing. When we go to the monthly MACD, we got the same sort of thing going on here as well. The monthly MACD has 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence. It's currently down significantly right now. It has not crossed to the downside just yet. No, it hasn't done that. So that's, again, still a point in its favor, I suppose. But when we go over past market cycles, whenever we've seen this thing cross to the downside, that's been it. So just the fact that it's drawing very close to each other is, in my opinion, not a good sign for the long term. If we again go to the chart over here, you can see very, very cleanly and very, very quickly that when the MACD histogram crossed the when the MACD crossed the downside, the high was already in. And this one, again, it hasn't crossed the downside just yet, but all prior times, the high was already in, and you're getting ready for your next major push to the downside. Here is your big push to the downside in 2022. You had bull trap first and big down. Here you had it actually, I guess, correctly got the Rona dump. I don't know if I'd necessarily say that, but you got that first bull trap into the bounce before the Rona dump, and then boom, 50% down. Same thing over here. High was several months before this, and then big drop off into the 2018 low. And then same thing over here in 2014, getting the tail end of that bull trap before heading down, down, down. So, the fact that these are drawing so close already is, in my opinion, not a good sign. Anytime that we've seen it really draw this close in the past, it's generally led to a downside cross. But technically speaking, no, it is not there just yet. And if we were going to see this one officially give a downside signal for the monthly MACD by the end of this month, Bitcoin would need to close below 97,450 according to Caretaker's MACD reverse indicator. So I don't know, maybe that's possible by the end of this month. I guess we'll see. But again, just the fact that it's getting close is not necessarily a good sign. The biggest piece of hopium that I can really pull up for you right now is just the fact that Bitcoin has not broken below any of the major moving averages on the monthly just yet. The 5 EMA continues to remain above, at least for the closure of October. You can see that we're already below it right now for November, but it only matters where we close at the end of the month for November. So that will be a price point of 108,500, just something to keep in mind throughout the rest of this month. Now, on top of all of this, we can go over here to the HPDR monthly, and we can see the monthly HPDR did indeed reject the median for last month. And after rejection of the median, we generally look for a move back down to the bottom side of the blue range here, which would be the 38.2 level, and that's about 103,350. Now that's like your likely target. If things want to take another step down, your next obvious area is going to be the 50% level right here, and that's all the way at $93,000. So that is a potential, but I would imagine at least this number right here will get hit. It could be, in the most bullish of scenarios, that Bitcoin bounces heroically from that number, crawls its way back above, 114, 115, and continues. I mean, that would be the bullish view for sure. I'd keep an open mind to it, but again, that would still imply that we probably at least see that number hit at minimum during this month of November. And as we'll go over in just a moment here, there's reason to believe that we will see even lower than that. But one moment while I take a sip of this water. Need to freshen up and actually charge my phone as well. What the fuck have I done? I am like the most OCD person with charging my phone, like even if it's 70%, I'm like, I need to charge it now. I don't know what it is, but I have some sort of mental disease. I guess that's just who I am. Anyways, let's go back over here. So we have been following many of these setups, many of these setups. We followed it on the 12-hour, the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day, now the 5-day. We've seen it on both spot price action and CME. And we are now seeing the 5-day setup fire off right here as well. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the same setup that we've been looking at where the red moving average crosses the downside of the yellow moving average, which has initiated a minimum correction down to the green moving average, basically for the full history of CME. If we go to spot price action, we can run this study back for the past 8 years where it's basically done that very well. I do want to acknowledge that actually the last setup over here did fail, to be fair. I'm curious if we use a 5 EMA, if it still failed. Let's see. No, it did not. If we use a 5 EMA, it did not. And by the way, the 5 EMA is going to cross anyways at the end of this next period anyways. So I don't necessarily know if I don't think that matters in this case. But yeah, you might say that that's fitting the data. At the end of the day, I just care about what the historical results show. This is not a trading setup. This would be a terrible trading setup. I cringe every time I see someone quoting this for like a trading setup. You are a fucking moron. You can see so clearly on the charts. This would not be great. Yes, these are winning trades here, but these are not great, like optimized trades at fucking all. But it's really good for understanding directional analysis, especially when talking to a general audience on YouTube. And most importantly, it tells at least me, hey, don't get super bullish right here because we're still in a corrective phase. And until this target is met, don't be expecting anything super crazy to the upside. And as of right now, we can see that cross is coming at the end of this next period, extremely likely. And the green moving average, which is a minimum target. Again, minimum target means minimum, not like it gets exactly to there and then bounces for sure. I mean, some cases that happens. We saw it happen over here and over here actually, but in many cases it does drop lower, like you see over here and over here. Anyways, as of right now, that's at about $99,000. So that would be, again, that minimum target. So I do think that we will see something like that hit at some point in November, hopefully earlier in November rather than later, because I think that would at least open up the possibility for a bullish closure, or like the possibility at least. But yeah, fair enough. Anyways, the weekly time frame is also going to be doing it as well at the end of this week. Very likely, as long as Bitcoin's below about 110,500, and that green moving average is about the same as the 5-day, about $99,500. What about the bi-weekly? Bi-weekly still pretty far away, so at least there's some hopium there. What about spot price action? Do we see the 8-day maybe getting close? Indeed, it is. It's not quite there just yet. Still got another 5 days left to go. But if that one does cross, then we got a minimum target down here at about $97,000. What about the 10-day? This one's also pretty far away still. But yeah, so maybe not worth talking about just yet. But if Bitcoin does really start to hang out below about 108, then that will happen in maybe a couple closures. So it's still like 20 days away, to be fair. It's going to be a while if it happens at all. But that target, more importantly, would be significantly lower, all the way down here at about low $90,000 territory. So fair enough, man. Just be aware of where all these major pivots are, because as long as Bitcoin's below, especially 108, the probability of targets below $100,000, it just grows larger and larger, and the downside target becomes, lower and lower the longer that Bitcoin hangs out below these numbers to play out those setups. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for what I wanted to speak about today. Again, just kind of more cautious, I suppose. I guess we could also go over the higher term time frame stochastic momentum oscillators. We just went through the monthly and the bi-monthly, obviously, both of which are down. The daily time frame, as we acknowledged last week, was turning down on that lower high on Wednesday. I think that we got that one pretty damn well. This one continues to the downside, by the way, with the downside bias, as long as Bitcoin's closing below 112,200, which feels very far away at this point, to be honest. The 2-day time frame is also freshly crossing down in the bearish control zone as long as Bitcoin's below 110. The 3-day time frame is also going to continue down here as long as Bitcoin's below 108. This one will not close tonight, but in a couple nights actually, so maybe not so relevant for right now. The 5-day time frame is going to continue down here as long as Bitcoin's below 116,400. The 10-day time frame also continuing down here as long as Bitcoin's below 119,500. The bi-weekly time frame also going to continue to the downside here as long as Bitcoin's below 118,500. And then the 3-week time frame is, well, you probably can already guess it. It's already crossed into the downside as long as Bitcoin's below about 121. Again, all of these on low volatility. So these are, again, just all major warning signals that, hey, if there's any direction that's going to be traded to in a great way in the short term, it's probably to the downside. It's most likely going to be to the downside. And my rule My rule for myself is, which maybe you might find some value in this or not, is that when I see all of the higher term timeframes, like the daily, 2-day, 3-day, 5-day, 8-day, 10-day, weekly, bi-weekly, 3-week, fucking monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly, all align in the same direction, I'm not saying it has to go down, but I'm definitely not going to bet in the other direction while all of those are disagreeing with each other. Ideally, at some point, they will not all agree with each other, and at that point, we have the real potential for reversal. But for right now, I think Bitcoin's going to take its time, but I do think that it is down and sideways, and this is very obviously a downtrend right here, and I just do not understand a lot of the shit that I see around social media right now. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Krown's a fucking moron and can't get anything right, but we shall see. We shall see. Anyways, I think, yeah, that is it for me on that. I'll get over here to the comments, and I can see we have a change behavior here. Steven Schickman is not first. He is second, actually. So we'll go to time lapse first. He's looking at ZIP on the ASX, so a real stock, but it's on the Australian Shitcoin exchange, so it's probably not that great. And we shall see. Better than most shitcoins, that's for sure. Anyways, weekly. I don't know. I feel like I need something. I do think that this is going to be a monthly swing high, and it comes down a little bit, but give it a chance to put in a higher low. I'm not necessarily bearish on it. Let me go to my RSI chart. I'd like to see that for something like this. See if there's any sort of divergences and whatnot. Yeah, I do think, actually, in the short term, I think you're going to bounce back up. But at some point, I would be looking for a higher low at around $3. I don't think it's bearish, though. I'm not bearish on it. I just think short term, you bounce. I don't think the bounce is going to make new highs on this rally. Yeah, and you do have bearish divergence on the monthly time frame. So I think at some point you do get back down to like $3 or so, and then hopefully put in a higher low and bounce heavy there. Something like that, man, is what I'd be looking for on this. But for right now, I think your short-term upside is more or less like this high over here. It should stand for a while, but in the short term, it should bounce up, bull trap somewhere around there, and then come down and hopefully set in a higher low here. That's what I'd be hoping for if I was playing something like this, which I'm not. Now we have Steven Schickman, and he is looking at Doggy Daily Weekly. I can assure you I have probably no major update on this, except that it is going to go down more and more. Can't even get my pity bounce over here, so fair enough. I guess that was a little bit of a hopium play, but ultimately the direction is the same for this thing. It is very likely down to 14 or 15 cents. It looks to me like it's breaking down, or it's in the process of breaking down right now. Officially, if you do see today close below 18 cents, which right now it looks and seems very likely, but it's a long day left to go. You got 9 hours and 12 minutes to go. But if it does close below there, I would be looking for this to play out somewhere down to 14 or 15 cents in that pocket there. You do have generally a downtrend. You do have generally a literal fucking meme coin, which has zero value, but the community's strong. We got a really strong community, guys. We're gonna spend those community bucks right now. We have the strongest community of all time. Amazing. You mean a bunch of fucking bag holders? What you mean? Anyways, in this case, it's like, look, man. Do I think it's gonna break below 14 cents? Probably not. Probably not. But again, this is a fucking dead. Like, how long have we been talking about this damn thing? It is a dead fucking investment. Here's where I'd really be sounding the alarm bells, though. If you do see it like drop down below, let's call it 13 cents. And start to close weeklies below there, then I think you're going to go for the full retrace and come back down to, 7 or 6 cents, something like that. But for right now, it's just, I don't know, down, fill out that space, give it a chance, I suppose. Could be worse, I guess, in a way. I don't know. Am I being too nice to it? Perhaps yes, but let's go check out Stochastic Momentum. I haven't checked out that on the higher term timeframes on this thing for a while. Yeah, again, weekly time frame here, rejecting the bullish control zone once, twice, thrice, and down. 22 cents is the current pivot. Highly doubt you're going to be reclaiming that anytime soon. Bi-weekly time frame, fresh cross to the downside below 21 cents. Good fucking luck with that. Monthly time frame, fresh open for November, cross into the downside below 19 cents. Fucking great. And then the bi-monthly, I don't know if this one's going to show anything of relevance, but yeah, it's just down as well. Actually playing out the same sort of regression from the last few highs, as you can see right there, as long as you're below 24 cents. Forgive me if I say this, Mr. Steven Schickman. Look, I love you, sir. I wish the best for you, but this is a garbage fucking investment, man. And the longer that you hold this, the more and more opportunity costs that you're giving up at the very least, and at the very worst, you're just going to, do I need to spell it out, man? Like, you know where this one's going. You know where it's fucking like, guys, it's a in the most sincere tone, it's a fucking meme coin. And look, communities don't have any value. All right. Like, if communities had value, then your fucking beanie babies would be worth something, but they're not. They're not. Your Labubus are worthless. Okay. Your fucking Labubu beanie babies are Dead fucking weight. They're dead fucking weight. They're dead wood. They're weighing you down. All of this is a goddamn distraction. It's just a fucking distraction to make you poor. That's what it is. That's what this shit is. Like, for fuck's sake. It's a funny meme. And it's not even funny anymore because it's an old meme. We need new memes. No, we don't need memes at all. Fuck your fucking meme coins. They are garbage. They're stupid. They are a retard test. Okay? It's a litmus test for being a fucking retard. No offense, but for real, like, I feel like I'm taking fucking crazy pills trying to tell people this. Your meme coins don't actually have any value. Holy shit, crazy. No, but bro, don't you know it's all about the community, man. And if you have a strong community, that can bring you through anything, because you know it's even better than having a high price and going up. Community, bro. We're gonna be spending community bro tokens once we tokenize our fucking tokens. Drives me fucking nuts, man. I wish the best for you though, sir. Anyways, we got Arms Private next. He says, hello, sir. Do you think Bitcoin bounces to 111 to 113 first before continuation to downside, or are we going to have a shallow bounce? That's a really good question, man. Like I said, generally looking for a retest of the prior month's open is I mean, that is a good thing to look for on just about any month, right? Almost all of these months will test the prior month open. Not always, but very, very commonly it does. And that would be around about 114. So 113 to 114, I suppose. But when I look at the lower term timeframes like the daily, no, I think that this thing tries lower first before any sort of a bounce. So I guess that's in kind of a weird fucking acrobatic way of thinking that's potentially bullish, potentially good. Because it's like you go down first, rip off the fucking Band-Aid, and then maybe by end of month, you pop back up to test that prior month's open, which may or may not even happen to begin with. Because, I mean, again, it's very, very common for it to happen, but it doesn't always happen. In real breakouts or breakdowns, it does not happen. For example, like this breakout over here in May, it did not test the April open. But pretty much every other one besides this breakout over here, you're going to be testing those opens or very, very, very close to them. So yeah, in my opinion, this one likely tries downside first, and then gets a bounce, and hopefully that bounce brings it back up to that prior month open. Only way I change my mind is if it could reclaim, this isn't even helpful because it's already at your 111 target. That was just like your last rejective lower high, man, right here at 111. So if it could reclaim 111, I think that you're going to see that open officially retested. Maybe even trade a little bit upwards of there as well. But honestly, man, if I'm just shooting you straight, I think it's down first. And I hope it's down first as well. I'd rather rip off the Band-Aid in that way. That's the only way, in my opinion, that this thing potentially remains with a long-term bullish bias, is by ripping off the Band-Aid first and then, crawling your way back up before end of month, something like that. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But if you're asking my opinion, yeah, it's down first, man. It's down first. Arms Privates is back. He's looking at HBAR USD short and long term. No problem, sir. No problem indeed. Let's see what it's doing. I don't know. Haven't looked at this one in a while, but what do you fucking know? Another lower high around the 200 simple moving average, that white moving average right there. All major moving averages are switching into a full-on bearish posturing, and you're seeing momentum turn to the downside. Plus the red dot, the red derp of defeat. I have to say, down is a direction, man. Probably back down to this low here at 16 cents. Yeah. Color me surprised. A shitcoin going down. What a surprise! Oh my God! Is this only the millionth time that this has happened? Amazing. This time might be different, though. Go with Boris's Opa! GM, you are so loud. You woke up my neighbors. Sorry, neighbors. I apologize. Should we also make loud sexual noises as well to wake them up? Or is that too juvenile? Hope all is well, ma'am. But Brazilians are pretty chill, so I'm sure they have no issues with that. John Dude says BBAI 5-day and long-term views. Is it fuck or suck? Ooh, fuck or suck. I think I've seen a video on this or two. Is it fuck or suck? Well, I think it's suck right now for a little bit of time, but I wouldn't necessarily be like full on bearish on it. I just think that you're coming down a bit. But yeah, hopefully it sets in a higher low somewhere around like 5.25 to 545 region. But I do think you are coming down from here a bit. And I would be full on. It's sucked fucked if you can come back down below the September lows. That would be confirmation of shittiness. But until then, I think that there's still some hopium here. But I do think a lot of these defense technology stocks are topping out. Like I started to take profits on my baby over here, KTOS, after it went up fucking 3-4x from, you know, $20 to 115 or so. These have just been really, really crazy moves. Same thing with RedCat as well. You know, I think that a lot of these things are topping out for a while. You know, I think this thing's coming down to like $8. So if I'm just looking at the defense technology sector as like a sector, I think a lot of these things have topped, man, for a while. I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to enter into like a full-on bear market, but I think they're just done going to the upside for a while. You know, it's like a meme coin cycle, a meme coin narrative cycle. You know, they get their popcorn rally and then they come back down. And I don't know, maybe this is a popcorn rally, maybe at least it doesn't have, you know, prior shitty history, but KTOS certainly does. So, you know, in these situations, I think trading around these positions is the right thing to do. But again, that's just my opinion. Chris Fellow says ICP. Oh, this one's going to be great. This one's going to be amazing. Internet Computer Protocol. Yes. It's a great name and even better chart. It goes down only and down only even more. Half supply staked, long exchange supply, all-time low. I don't know what the fuck all that means. This is a garbage chart. It's going down only, man. There might be look, in the most hopium of scenarios, I think there could be a bounce to like $6. I'm not saying there is going to be, but if you did have like one of those one-off bounces, $6 is where I'd be looking towards, but it's down only after that, man. This is garbage. You know, and again, these are all just like what you said, the sentence that followed the ICP. I don't know what that means. It just reminds me of like marketing gobbledygook. Like it doesn't mean anything. It's just another way of saying, please buy our bags before they go down more. Yeah, look, man, it's only ever gone down. I have no reason to believe it's going to reverse from here. It's making new all-time lows in a real bull market. Like, I cannot highlight this point enough. If your shitcoin, which is most shitcoins, have made new all-time lows at any point during this bull market, while Bitcoin was making new all-time highs, it's not a good fucking sign. Ever. Yes, 1 out of a million might pull through and put in a big rally, maybe even reversing. But that 1 in a million is definitely going to be this thing. It's definitely going to be whatever your favorite shitcoin is. Look, I don't know, but I'd be betting on downside here, man. Arms Private says Link USD, short and long term. I'm guessing this one looks more or less like Dogecoin shitcoin. Let's see. Looks very similar in the on the weekly and the short term here, and I'd say the same thing about Dogecoin as I would about this. I think you're coming back down to like $13-14. You have just a straight up downtrend right here, lower high after lower high with hidden bearish divergence on the most recent lower high. If this thing closes anywhere below the most recent price action pivot, which is 16, or it's a new one right here, 1633. By the end of today, I'd say that that's your sort of green light that this thing's going to be heading down to like 13 or $14. I don't know, somewhere around there. Yeah. Surprise. Anyways. Arms Private says BNB USD short and long term. I got you. Let's see. This is one of the few shitcoins that's actually outperformed Bitcoin. So let's give it its due diligence. But that's starting to look kind of toppy to me. That's kind of looking a bit toppy to me, sir. I'm feeling a little bit toppy about this. This is a fucking top here, man. This is absolutely a top. I think you're going to come down to like 950, probably have a pretty epic bounce, and then more down after that. How long will that move take you? Fuck if I know. It might take a few months, but I think this is going to be a top for a while, man. This is very likely a top for a long time. I mean, you also have some major drives of bearish divergence, 1, 2, and 3. Monthly, 1 and 2. Quarterly, well, not much, not enough history for quarterly, but yeah, quarterly looking something like this. I mean, it's going to be hard to find me bullish on something like that, man. I think you're coming down to 950, big bounce, and then down to like 800. If I had a ball sack, I would probably short this thing, but I don't. Actually, no, I wouldn't short this thing. Honestly, this thing, I mean, comparatively speaking, it's not going to have as big of a percentage drawdown as many of these shitcoins, man. Many of these shitcoins can easily go down like 50%. So yeah, while I do think this thing has downside, honestly, it's not the best short. The conservative cat says RXRX, weekly, monthly. I'm guessing this is a stonk. Let's check it out. Recursive pharmaceuticals. Sounds like a biotech, in which case I would say, I hope you have insider information, because most shitcoin biotechs looks like this. And unless you have insider information, it's usually just down only. But yeah, every once in a while they do fucking pop up like a real shitcoin. It's pretty crazy. Look, if I'm just looking at this chart, yeah, there's bullish divergence coming off these last few lows. I don't know how much I trust it. Maybe you get another run back up towards 660, but I'm never going to like a chart like this, obviously. But biotechs are a game where if you're an insider, you got to throw away all the fucking TA, because insiders can do some crazy shit for this. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe they announced they got the new cure for cancer or some shit like that, and then it pops up to fucking $20, you know? I don't know, but if I had to bet on a direction here, it's going to be the downside, absolutely. Again, if you have inside information, disregard what the hell I'm saying. Living the adventure says GM Krown. What's up, ma'am? CORZ on NAS, weekly, monthly. Gotcha. CORZ. This is Core Scientific. Very good, actually, compared to the last couple ones. Now, in the short term, do I think it plays out a little bit of downside? Probably, yeah. I mean, that might be a short-term top here. But if it came down to like, 19 and a half, $20, that'd be fine. That is a 10% move though. But these things are volatile after all. At any rate, do I think that this one's topped out, perfectly just yet? No, I think that you come down, fill that gap somewhere around here, bounce back up, probably try for another run on the rally. Yeah, I'm not going to be looking at this as a top just yet. If things get really crazy to the downside, I could see maybe like 18 and a half to $19, but still, I think that you'll have a pretty epic bounce in that range, somewhere around there. William Kiefer says, or Kiefer? Sorry, ma'am. Hey, Krown, working through the trading Bible and was wondering if you're going to run your Black Friday sale. We will. Yeah, of course. Want to buy lifetime caretakers indicator bundle? Yeah, man. We pretty much offer anyone who has a trading Bible a 20% off discount anyways on anything else. So you don't necessarily have to wait. If you don't know what that code is, you can email elsa.crowntrading@outlook.com. And get that set up. But yeah, if you want to wait for the Black Friday sale as well, that's fine too. It's up to you, man. It's up to you. Anyways, Arms Private says the 5-day BBWP setup is active. Let's double check. I've not seen this myself yet, but I also haven't looked as well. So perhaps you are indeed correct. Let's see. Yeah, you are correct. Now, technically speaking, if I want to put my finger and be like, excuse me, actually, we'd want to see this one close above. So that won't happen for another 3 days. But look, if you want to play it more aggressively, which is completely up to you, understanding that, yeah, it's possible that it might go back down below 15 percentile by end of this next 3.5 days. But if you do want to front run it, I mean, that's where the biggest gains are had on, especially the downside setups. The downside setups are very difficult because they happen so quickly that if you do wait for confirmations, you've missed a good majority of the move. The upside setups are different. The upside setups, you can wait for the confirmation and you have not missed the move. There's still plenty more move to come. But so I totally understand that. And yeah, the 5-day stochastic oscillator is very obviously and very heavily positioned to the downside here as long as you're below 116,400, also in the bearish control zone. So, I look at that as like, if this is a setup for anything, yeah, it's downside. And just like taking this one off the top, 30% to the downside puts you around $85,000. 25% to the downside puts you at about 93, 94. So I think both of those are going to be areas of interest. Maybe not both, but perhaps at least one. Anyways, one moment. I need to check something on me phone over here. Oh, man. Oh, nice. Okay, there we go. Finally. All right. Beautiful. Always something, man. It's crazy to me that banks do not work over the weekends. Like, how is that possible? How is that possible? Anyways, your question goes on to say, but can we still bounce to 113 before maybe going down? I mean, there's always a possibility, right? I'm not of that opinion right now. I see plenty that suggests that if we're going to see downside, it happens sooner rather than later. So if I had to bet on it, I would say downside first, bounce later. And maybe that bounce does bring you back to 113. That could definitely happen. Like I said, I think that's kind of the hopium vision of this, in the sense that you rip off the Band-Aid first, then you bounce back up to one of those relevant regions before end of month, and more importantly, reclaim that 5 EMA on the monthly as well. That would keep long-term bullish hopium alive for me. Chris Fellas says Zen Daily Weekly swing high. We can look at it, but don't hate me if I don't like it. I'm just giving you an opinion, man. Zen, this is a privacy token. Terrible. This is, if I had balls, I'd short this thing. If I had balls, but I don't have balls. Bearish divergence on the last high. I think in the short term, you come back down to 13 and a quarter, probably an attempt for a bounce there. You already got extremes on your BBWP. This seems like as good of a high as any. It did actually reclaim the 200 simple though. So, hey, there is that. I don't know. Maybe I do have to take that back. Okay, let's say this. Let's say this. First move down, probably somewhere around 13 and a half bucks. There should be a bounce attempt after that. If that bounce by some act of God brings you back above $20, I would say, oh shit, this thing's actually going to be bullish. But until then, I'm still looking at this as likely a top area right here. Like it's too hard not to see, to be honest. Anyways, but yeah, that would be my hoping. But still, short term, yeah, I look for it to play at a little bit of downside. It should bounce pretty heavily off of that number though. And if that bounce brings you back above 20, then I'd say, okay, yeah. This actually does have potential to do a Zcash type move. But until then, I'm always gonna be wary against this sort of shit. This looks like a popcorn rally to me. Again, living the adventure says XRP daily, monthly, por favor. Sure, man. We actually haven't looked at this one in a while, or it feels like it's been a while. Undoubtedly much weaker than the last one that we just looked at. This one's similar to Dogecoin. This one's similar to Linkcoin. You got hidden bearish divergence on this last lower high. It is already towards the bottom side of this range. Just need to see a daily closure below the price action pivot here of 238 about. Closure below there should get a move back down to like $2. Maybe it settles around 2 and a quarter after that, but I'd be looking for, push down to close to $2. As far as the weekly and monthly go, weekly I'm not getting anything unique. Monthly, not great. I'd generally be bearish as long as you're below last month's high, which is $3, which was a big pivot for us as well. We moved that pivot down several times from 3 and a quarter to 315 to 310 to 305 to 3, maintaining a bearish bias as long as it's below those numbers, which should continue to remain below. So, if I have to bet on direction here, I do think it is going to come down to like $2 or so, and there should be a big bounce there as well. Well, I guess we'll see what happens after that, man. But, bearish as long as you're below, especially last Sunday's high, man, 270 to the upside. Still think that the price action pivots indicator is massively slept on here as well, man. This thing, it's kind of similar to in a lot of ways, it's similar to the historical price action statistics indicator, not because they do the same thing, but because they both offer up that extremely high probability of a bounce on the first pass of one of these pivots here. It's almost always scalpable. You can see right here. These are not like home run trades. These are not home run moves. You're not going to get rich in one trade off of this. But if you repeat this, over a few months, it does add up to a lot. Anyways, you can actually try that out for free for 7 days. But hold on. Before I start showing a little bit more, chair is running over my wires here. Whoops. Anyways, 2 and 6 Sports Podcast says super verse for the cycle, my friend. For the cycle, what do I think it's going to do in this cycle? I don't know about that, but I think it's going more down. Already breaking down to new lows to start off the month. Again, I love Elliot, man. I absolutely love Elliot. He's one of my best friends in the crypto space, maybe even my best friend in the crypto space. But as far as the chart, I don't love this. I think it had its chance back here in July, and again in September. But those were pretty important rejections. It was hard to have any sort of hopium after those. I think that this thing's getting ready to come down significantly, to be honest. 15 to 20 cents. It's not good right here. It's really not good. This has been down only, man. It's been straight up down only since last December, basically. So, yeah. The only way I change my opinion on this, there's not even really a good region to do this one on, too. I guess maybe if it got back above 69 cents, even then, it doesn't really matter. This is the major area right here. This is where you've been getting your rejections from. Again, price action pivot, man. It's beautiful. 96 and a quarter cents. As long as you're below there, it's just really difficult to like it long term. All bounces are probably just that in the short term. I mean, if it did have one of these heroic bounces, I'd look at 55 cents as like a gift from God at this point. Yeah, man. Don't like it. As far as charts, do not like it. Do not like it. Adrian Renee says, how shit is my shitcoin, sir? The answer is yes. INJEST. Look, I don't want to judge these things prematurely because sometimes, you do run into a shitcoin that actually genuinely does look good. But they are few and far between. Absolutely. Anyways, we'll go over here. Already at prior major macro lows. Never a good sign, sir. Never a good sign. Look, man, I think you're going to officially retest your lows from April. Probably gets another bounce there, maybe. I don't think the bounce is going to do anything significant. It's certainly very unlikely to get anywhere above $13, if it even gets anywhere closer to begin with. Long term, I think you're coming back down here, man. This is bad. It's bad. How shit is my shitcoin? Yeah, if you do get a bounce, I think $9.50 actually is relevant. I think you actually could get around there. But yeah, I mean, the chart kind of speaks for itself, right? Not great. Not great indeed. Chris Vell is back. He's looking at MicroStrategy. Let's check it out. This one, we were looking at a move down to 270 last month, and actually we were looking for that move for a few months to happen. Finally got there, even exceeded that by a little bit to 254. At some point, I do think you're going to see another bounce back up to about $300. Yeah, I think you will see a bounce to $300 at some point in the next month or two. In the short term, maybe even this week, you see like 284, 285 region. But this it's becoming really difficult for me because you're at a turning point right here. Because if this thing even just comes down to those March lows of 330, yeah, you're going to get bounces, but it is bearish at that point. Or I think you are in the midst of a bearish reversal at that point. Yeah, you're going to get a bounce, but the bounce is your last opportunity, honestly. I don't know, man. I guess there's still hopium here because this is technically a higher low, but this does not look strong. This does not look good. This does not look like it's going to reverse quite literally from here. I hope it does. I don't own MicroStrategy, but I hope it does. Because obviously, I mean, if MicroStrategy falters, then what do you think Bitcoin's going to do, right? Anyways, go look at, God, yeah. See, this is not good. All right. Monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly. It probably will break down. It probably will break down. I do think you will get a bounce somewhere around here at some point, somewhere between like 285 to maybe as much as 300. But as long as all those things are present on the monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly, these are breakdown scenarios. Yeah. Yeah, makes me think on Bitcoin as well, man. These are not good signs. These are not good signs. Now that I recognize that the quarterly has bearish divergence here, and the 21 EMA is all the way down at about 155 to 160, so I think it's very likely you'll see somewhere around $200 at least in the next 2 to 5 months. Bi-monthly time frame. 1, 2, 3 drives a bearish divergence here. Again, 194, 195 is the easy target, as I like to say. There's going to be bounce at some point, like I said, but I don't think that bounce is going to continue into like a major macro uptrend. I mean, let's be fucking real here for a moment. Like this is a swing high. It might still be a macro uptrend. It probably will be, but keep in mind it can come down to fucking $100 and still be a higher low. Like, that's the problem with these things when they get so fucking volatile. Like, it's very, very difficult. Very difficult, man. But yeah, I think it's going to be a bounce at some point, but I don't think that bounce is going to be reversal. I would treat this thing as bearish, more or less, as long as you're below October's high, which is 365. I think that's kind of an easy line in the sand for right now. Anyways, Aaron Shah Nazari. Are you Iranian? That sounds like an Iranian name. Or no, Armenian maybe. Maybe it's Armenian. Maybe it's Iranian. Maybe it's Armenian. I don't know. Anyways, both of them actually quite good people. Just not good governances. Anyways, any daily bullish divergences on Link? I don't know. Let's see. For the daily. Okay, so first off, when it comes to divergences, in my book, you need to compare like with like. Otherwise, you start front running every sort of potential continuation move, which is just going to get you fucking wrecked beyond belief. At some point, yes, it will work like that, and you'll get, you'll think you're a genius. But in this case, you don't even have a local low here, so you can't compare this with anything else. Now, if it did literally reverse exactly from here, like exactly from here, it reverses from here, closes here, and then tomorrow or the next day it starts to crawl its way back up and confirm a local low, then yeah, you would have bullish evidence. Yes, you would. But this is a continuation signal as of right now, so I'd be going with that, man. Would you draw Fibonacci retracement from the bottom at $11? So you mean down here? So something like this to the high, you can, but I'd say that this is not a valid Fibonacci retracement. The easiest way that you can tell that it's not valid is just these major fibs don't align with anything of note. They should play a lot more technically if it is valid. So what I would say is that is not the right pivot to be taking this from. Probably the right pivot to be taking this from is the last major low, and it shouldn't even be this high. It should be this high over here, and now you have something that now you have something that aligns with prior pivots. And even then, if you want to go for the more recent, it would be this right here and this right here, and I guess you'd kind of be resting on the 618, but I do not trust this one. I don't think that is valid, actually. So yeah, like when it comes to Fibonacci retracements, it should be relatively obvious when something is actually working. If it's not, then it's probably just Jesus toast, man. Freddie M says BITF daily weekly went all-time high. Yes, it will get to an all-time high, but maybe not in this lifetime. This is your high for a long time right here, man. I don't know why I had this area circled off. I guess that was a targeted region from before, but it was a targeted region for a reason, because I think it's going to pull back from there. I think you're going to pull back, to like 3.25 from here. Hopefully at 3.25, you do put in a higher low and work your way back up. I think that is actually possible in this. But look, if Bitcoin is showing downside signals, if a lot of things are kind of corroborating that story with Bitcoin, do I think a Bitcoin miner is going to be doing well? Generally, that doesn't happen, but I don't know. Like this chart is objectively stronger than what we're seeing a lot, in a lot of these cryptos cases. But yeah, in the short term, do I think it pops back down around here? Yeah. Do I think it's going to bounce from here as well? Yes. Do I think it could be a higher low into a continuation of the trend towards that prior all-time high? Actually, yeah, there is some hopium for that. But if I'm just looking at this, I personally think you're going to be going sideways and downside for a while. Well, I don't know. Quarterly's not bad, nor is the bi-monthly. But short-term downside, give it a chance to bounce, come back to it after that. But yeah, this actually is okay. It's not terrible. Anyways, the conservative cat says IREN stock weekly monthly. Gotcha. IREN, we've been following this one for a while as well, but I still don't have a mental picture of what it looks like. Yeah, another good one. Do I think it can come down to like 45, 46 bucks on a pullback? Absolutely. Do I think that'd be a great place for a bounce? Yes, absolutely as well. Even then, maybe I'm being a little bit too aggressive with that as well. I mean, if this thing at least pulls, I'd imagine at least pulls back to about $60 at some point in this month. Should be bounced there. If it pulls back to 51, that'd be another area of interest, and then yeah, your $45 would be the next area of interest. I think you'll obviously at least hit one of those, but that'd be kind of how I'd structure it to see if and when they do fail. But overall, do you think that this one's topped just yet? Actually, no. This is still pretty good. I think that this one still has new highs to go. And even on the daily right here, I mean, shit, is this thing just gonna run away from here? If it closes above those October highs, it would be very hard to argue against it just running to new highs from here. I mean, obviously it's already at new highs, but it's just like no major pullback if that were to happen. So yeah. Very bullish long term, especially as long as you're above about 40 bucks, but that's not very helpful because that's like almost a 50% move from where you're at right now. So yeah, that's also the problem with these runaway markets is if you join them late, your risk management becomes very risky. Anyways, Aaron's back. He says tether dominance on weekly has a little bit left to reach the trend line, which I know you don't care much about trend lines. I mean, I did this trend line over here for a reason because I actually think that it does have some validity to it. It's also going to be corroborated by the price action pivots indicator, or it just was when I was on the monthly. Yeah, the monthly has it right there, coming in around 570 right now, trading 515, 516. And if I look at it from here, yeah, I'm looking at that same thing. It also more or less aligns with the 200 simple on this time frame as well. So I like the confluence there overall. I'm not saying it necessarily has to get to this number, but if it gets anywhere around there, that's what I'd be looking for on a potential reversal. So that would obviously imply, bearishness in the short term for cryptos, which is bullishness on this. And then if you do get around here and you turn around, then that would actually be bullish for, your Bitcoins and some of your cryptos as well. But how much damage is done to the downside first? That's the real question here. But yeah, but hold on. Let's also just directly address what you're saying. So what you're saying is, I know you don't care much about trend lines, but it only has a little bit left to reach there. I would actually push back a little bit on that statement, because while, yeah, this is only about 0.5% between where it's at right now and this trend line, that can account for a lot of fucking damage on price action, man. I mean, that can be a lot of damage on price action. So, don't look at this as like meaningless. I don't think it's meaningless. Like, that could be Bitcoin down to 90 if it hits this over here, somewhere around there. It's not gonna be a direct correlation, but I would kind of anticipate somewhere around there if that were to happen. So yeah, I guess we'll see, man. As always, in my opinion, it's better to be looking at your actual chart that you want to be analyzing versus the US dollar, rather than looking at this. But this is kind of a good insight into the longer term picture, I guess. If you're talking about a possible breakout, like, do you mean a breakout to the upside? I think that would be the only way to read this at this point. Yeah, it's possible, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I suppose. Yeah, not really relevant right now, so I don't have to make a call like that just yet. I don't know. I just think short term it's going to be up for this one. We'll come back to that one if and when it gets there, and then in the moment we can be like, really hope it doesn't break out. Armenian from Iran. Oh, holy shit, man! I was right on fucking target there, man. Yeah, I grew up with a lot of Iranians who escaped the regime from like 1980s that happened. I think it was somewhere around there. Anyways, I'm done with the super chats now. I'll get over to the comments. I see, actually, hold on. Did I? Oh, okay, hold on. I recognize that the comments actually does not populate on time. That's kind of strange. All right, let me just give it a moment to get back down to the bottom, and I'm gonna take a sip of this water in the meantime. Harsh Ram says, sir, the bull moon is soon. That is true. So there's a little bit of hopium there. I still think it's another few days, but yeah, it is. I think it is coming up. Last I looked. Let's go double check to confirm. So every cycle takes about 14 to 15 days. We are in day number 13 right now. So day number 14 will be Wednesday. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess. I mean, it's a little bit of hopium. There's something at least, right? I'm my hero, says sub homies. Low Energy Finn is here. What's up, man? I do not know how to say that because I cannot speak Finnish, sir. What else we got? The conservative cat is looking at ACHR. Then we'll look at BAT for the Low Energy Finn. Why not? That's a really old shitcoin. Whoops. Didn't really mean to look at this thing on this, but what was it? ACHR. Yeah, I like looking at stocks on this chart here, actually. Undoubtedly a high for a while here and turn into a long-term consolidation, but well, a hard one, actually. I do think that you have some more downside to about $9 or $9.25. That's all I'll say for right now, because it's very possible that you do put in a higher load around 9.25, let's say, and then it actually does try for a real breakout. But either which way, I think that you are coming down a little bit in the more near term. All right, so for Low Energy Finn, I think it's the first request I've ever seen from him. BAT. So this is basic attention token. This was around in 2017. This was touted as one of the legitimate things from 2017, and as you can see, it was incredibly legitimate. Anyways. As far as BAT's doing right now, look, I don't know if this run is already done right here, or maybe if it officially tests that white 200 simple moving average at about 27 cents or so. Either which way, whether the high was in here or whether it goes a few cents higher, that's what I'd be looking for on the next major macro high for this thing, man. Yeah, I really don't have much to say about it other than that. In the short term, you do have some very light but present bearish divergence here, so there is that, I guess. If it comes back down below last week's low, that would be my confirmation that this thing is done going to the upside and will be going on its next major downside leg. But yeah, basically got your attention and dumped on your face, says Get With The Hype. Very, very appropriate, actually. It did get your attention, and then it dumped on you, and now Bitcoin's dumping to 107. Amazing. Just fucking amazing. Yeah, here we are looking at our shitcoins, hoping and praying they will go up. They will make me rich. They will make me whole. They will make my life better. I will hold. I will be a good community member. I will get the riches in the future because holders are going to be rewarded. That's right. In your investment journey, it doesn't take good investments. It doesn't take rational investing knowledge and decisions. It only takes a strong community and diamond hands. That's right. All you have to do is just hold, and then you get rewarded. You get rewarded because the market is very generous, and the market just loves to give money to everyone because holding is a sign of virtue, and virtue is how you get rewarded, and not dollars, but in community token bucks. Join my community token now. Gallo says, hello, sir. Got here late. Ethereum chances it will go to all-time high? No. Look, man, these are not going up. 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 You have bearish divergence on this last high. I mean, it's a little bit premature to be calling that, but don't be surprised if this thing comes down to 3,100. This is its chance to try some downside. It's going to try some downside from here. So, you know, hold on to your fucking hard hats. Bounce now or I cut it off. I swear, Krown, I'm going to cut it off. Oh, man, you're really going to not like it when I cut off my pee-pee. I don't care what you think, sir. I'm cutting it off or you make it bounce now. You be bullish now. Be bullish now and give me my community tokens, man. I need my community tokens, please. 4-year cycle undefeated. It very well might be, man. I mean, like I said the last couple weeks, if you're selling in October, I don't think it's a bad decision if you believe that the 4-year cycle is legitimate. That would be the rational take. I still think that there's hopium. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too rosy, rose-colored goggles here, but I think that there is hopium after, you know, hopefully a mostly painless move to the downside here. Maybe as much as like $90,000, but at least $99,000. Hopefully this month, hopefully early in this month, that maybe, just maybe it can crawl back up above 108, 109 before end of month, and that would actually look quite good to me. But we're going to see, I suppose. Alt season 2029. There wasn't even an alt season there was alt season this cycle. We did see it early on. 2023, you had AI and AI agents. 2024, you had the memes. And then in 2025, you had the Bitcoin and crypto related stocks. But yeah, the rest of it, just bullshit. I'm becoming trans if this doesn't go up. Calm down, ma'am. I'm not responsible for your EBT being cut off. Oh, that hits home. That hits home, sir. Let's see what else we got, ma'am. Let me see. Yes, I will do them. Play AI nano stocks. Oh, play AI nano stocks instead of shitcoin roulette. Yeah, I thought that was a ticker, but it's not a ticker. But yeah, man. But even now, I think in traditional markets, you're at the very tail end of this sort of current mania bubble, and then there'll be the next thing as well, of course. But for now, I think the majority of a lot of those moves are done or entering at least into very long-term consolidations, and the fun part is over for a while. So yeah, please update on Chinese yuan versus the euro. We can look at it. It's not something that I've really spent much time looking at myself, so I don't really have an opinion off the bat on this one. But if I had to, I'd be favoring the Chinese yuan over the euro, at least in the short term. I think that this is a major low here. While this is an overall downtrend since 2015, and I do expect that it'll continue in a downtrend, I think that you're going to have some pretty severe upside here for the yuan in the short term, maybe even all the way up here, and then probably turns down again. But yeah, that's still a big move to the upside for Forex. I don't know how liquid this pair is. Like, I would imagine it's pretty difficult to trade this pair, especially due to capital controls in China. And also probably in Europe coming soon as well, if it's not already there. I mean, shit, man, I can tell you straight up, like if you want to move money out of Europe, it's not so easy. It's not so easy. Here, Bitcoin comes below 106. But my shitcoins are going to go up, right? 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 Wait, what? Wait, my shitcoins are going down? Oh, fuck, man. Oh, my shitcoins are going down again. The red dildos are crawling up my asshole. It hurts. It hurts. Make it stop. Please, Krown, make it stop. Look, I can't make it stop, man. The fucking altcoins, they have been shish kebabbing your asshole this whole fucking cycle and you haven't learned. At this point, it's too late. It's too fucking late. It's too late. It's game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck? ASTER down 25%. Are you telling me my new shitcoin on the block, which fucking, how many goddamn people in the stream told me that this thing is going to be the next best thing, is going down? Oh, no. Oh, snap. It's going down and it's not stopping. Yeah, it's only 27.5% to the downside. Amazing. Hey, Krown GM, would you guys short to the quantum wave bands? We're not going to add shorts to the quantum wave bands because I still think that there's, first off, it's very difficult to make long-term short strategies for Bitcoin, especially on lower-term timeframes. The problem with it is that you can have these moves kind of like what you're getting right now, where if you're wrong, it's just going to fucking rinse you so hard, it's not worth it. And even in bear markets, which obviously go down, there are still some pretty volatile and very tradable bounces, which it's actually quite decent at getting. So we don't really want to do that. Revin has been working on another oscillator though that is going to be that does play both sides of the market. It's not really like a strategy like the quantum wave bands is, but it will kind of give you ideas or areas of interest for upside and downside targets. Yeah, I guess that's something to look forward to. So yeah, Solana, you want to look at Solana? I mean, we can look at Solana. I imagine it's doing great, right? Oh, amazing. Down to 166 in 1 fucking minute. Crazy. This is the next Chinese Ethereum, right? Or something like that. Yeah. Don't be surprised to see this thing at 125 in a month or two. During Rambo 10 says, how the fuck can people have alts when they follow the show daily? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think most people have alts just because they've been holding them for forever, and it becomes like a sunk cost fallacy. And you know, I think a lot of people just kind of like pop into these streams every once in a while as well. And you know, they're probably used to like the general crypto creator who's just like, hey, it's bullish only, and hold on to your alts for another fucking few months because I swear it's definitely gonna go up, no problem. Yeah, man. It is what it is, man. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Hey, Krown, tell me to sell all my coins without telling me to sell all my coins. Don't sell all of your coins. You should long your longs and loan your longs. And then fucking long those too. Yeah, man. I don't know. Is this the week that Bitcoin comes down to 99? It could be. You know, a lot of the time when these moving average setups play out, it does hit like very quickly. So it might be this week, might be next week. Very possible. Yeah. Because people like pain. I don't know, man. I try to put myself in those shoes because I have gone through that as well. It's just a while. It was just a longer time ago. So I have trouble relating to it at this point because it's just too long ago. Like I don't remember what that was like anymore. But I have done the same, you know, mistakes as well. You know, the biggest thing is that what I don't understand is the people who have been around for multiple cycles who continue to play the shitcoin roulette and expect something different. That's what blows my mind. I can definitely understand why someone gets caught up in the hype for one cycle. That's completely understandable, and I think that's very normal. But to do it for 2 or more cycles in a row, that's I mean, it's really unbelievable in my opinion. You can lead a horse to water and sometimes they'll shit in it. True. Very true. Sometimes the horse drinks poison. This is also true as well. Bitcoin 105 and dropping. Thank you for letting me know, man. I couldn't see it on the screen. 2-day 21 versus 55 EMA cross confirmed. Technically, it needs to confirm on an actual closure, but yeah, I'd imagine it's more or less a foregone conclusion at this point. And to be fair, I mean, the target to 99 is like, it's the same shit as the other setups as well, but it adds good confluence to it. You know, again, it's very difficult for me not to see things coming down at least to that number. And also, just as an aside, like there's a lot of very unique ways to play the price action pivots indicator. And one of them is this. Look at the trendline extension here coming off of it. It's going to directly align with that 200 simple relative on the next period, actually. Again, this price action pivot indicator, if you're a short-term time frame scalper who's looking for more like intraday scalps, this thing actually does offer up more instances where you do get scalpable opportunities than the HPass over here. Both of them, though, this one does have higher probability on the first pass, but both of them pretty fucking good. Like, I could be very happy creating scalping strategies based off of those. Fingless Cave, or what's up, Frank? So put a limit long around 98,000 isn't financial advice, just Topium TA. I mean, look, these are targets. Just because it's a target doesn't mean it's going to bounce exactly on that decimal. It might, but it could also wick down further. Remember, like those are minimum targets on many of those setups. So it could very well wick, you know, another 5-10% below that. So if you put a limit long there and you're doing it on leverage, it's very possible you can get run over very quickly. I've been living in a red dildo for months, says American. We have all, sir. We have all. Zerablo says the 50-week moving average is at the 101 price. We might touch it today. Sure. TAO bro on the 1-day and 2-day. All right. I remember we looked at this one last week and actually I think this one looked actually okay, but let's see if it's holding true right now because yeah, I highly doubt it. Yeah. It had its chance to close the weekly above the pivot and it did not. It actually missed it by a shade, but that does matter. I don't know. It still even has a chance here, to be fair. You know, it's not playing with the rest of the market, so there is that. Like, even though I do want to be bearish on just most things, especially alts, I'm still going to call a spade a spade. This one's objectively in a better position than most. It just makes me a little bit, skeptical when I see a shitcoin doing something different than the rest of the market, especially Bitcoin. But yeah, objectively, this is a better chart. This is doing something different, and it's not bearish until you come below about 365. So it's got a lot of room to wiggle there, I suppose. Krown, can you look at the USD versus Brazilian real? I can. I'm not sure how much to trust these exotic pairings, but I can look at it for sure. Okay, so long term, as you would expect, the US dollar is in a just nonstop uptrend versus the Brazilian real. But in the short term, is this thing going to come down more before it bounces? I think you might get one more run at like 528, based off of this region here again, and then bounce. If it fails below this region, I think that you'll have a big step down towards, 480 to 490, but that should be the next sort of low as well. So either this area right here one more time, or if that breaks all the way down here. Either which way, I do expect the long-term macro uptrend to continue. I heard a really interesting theory about Brazil and the U.S. likely supporting them in the not-so-distant future. Similar to the way that we're supporting Argentina right now. If you didn't know, Trump just gave like $20 billion to Argentina to basically stabilize their markets because it's not going so well for them right now. I mean, it's not funny. Bless you, sir. But and bless you again. But hey, enough. Kidding. Okay, I love my wife, but. We need to get into some more magic internet money. Been watching since 2021, and I've learned from you that Bitcoin is king, everything else is shit, and if you don't have a strategy, don't trade. That last part, honestly, is what I would really hope anyone who listens to any of my videos or content for even, like one video would understand. Look, I am not against trading. I grew up as a trader. Trading is my profession. It still kind of is, even though I'm switching into more of a long-term investor. I think it's a great way if you are completely disciplined and can actually create a trading strategy and really test it out to produce income for yourself. But if we're being honest with each other, most people don't do that. They don't do that. That's why we offer the tools that we do with the Quant Prime or the Quantum Wave Bands, these sort of things, which help you create a closed loop strategy system. But at the end of the day, man, what I've learned is that most people want to just draw lines on a chart because it's more interactive and it's more engaging, and that's more fun for people because it's more, I don't know. It's just more fun for people. It feels more like, I guess there's more uncertainty with it, and with uncertainty comes more heightened emotions, and people just get addicted to those heightened emotions. Whereas when you trade a strategy like the quantum wave bands, or if you create your own strategy using the Quant Prime service, it does get pretty boring because, I mean, you could automate it where you're not even trading yourself at all, or it just takes out that fun sort of aspect of it, which a lot of people trade because they just want to gamble, just in the way that they like to sports gamble. It's like a fun way to pass the time, like poker. It's a fun way to pass the time. I mean, there is something fun about gambling. That's why it's one of the most addictive things of all time. So doing a real trading strategy is just the antithesis of that, basically. But yeah, man, it is what it is. S&P moved lower, pushes Bitcoin lower. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really difficult if of course, traditional markets are also pushing lower as well. But remember, we did have some short-term corrective downside targets for traditional markets. So let's keep an eye on that. For SPY, it's going to be somewhere around here, 68 or so. So I think you got a little bit more downside to live through. But still, overall, an objectively bullish chart. Yeah, now that I recognize that you do have multiple drives of bearish evidence on the daily. So I do think you will get down to like 68-ish. How much richer would you be if you knew 10 years ago what you know now about how finance actually works? Oh, it would be night and day, man. It'd be night and day. So that's also the next point that I'm trying to bring up, and why I've been slowly starting to incorporate more long-term investing content into my channel is that trading, again, if you become a trader, you're not going to become rich in the way that I think that you would think from, watching these Instagram fucking fools and these Twitter fools, showing off with their Lambos and shit like that. Like you're not going to get rich from earning an income. You will get rich, however, from investing that income. So I think you have to take it in two steps. And that's what I would have hopefully learned 10 years ago is one, well, at that point, I needed to learn the actual trading strategies and whatnot and all of that stuff. But regardless of that, if I could have added on what I know now, which in my opinion is the most important thing, is to learn how to invest it properly, then those returns would have been, 5, 10, maybe 15, 20x what they are now. It'd be night and day, man. Again, investing is how you create wealth. Trading is how you create an income. And both you need. Well, you at least need to be able to create wealth, but if you don't have the means in order to invest at a meaningful rate already, then yeah, you need to up your income, obviously. Trading can be one route to that, but it doesn't need to be trading. You could do fucking Uber Eats, driving around cars and shit like that. There's no dishonor in these sorts of things. Just earn your fucking income and then invest that. And I think anyone who reduces their cost to as little as possible can build up a respectable net worth, if they just follow that sort of blueprint for 15, 20, 30 years. Yeah, it'll be slow. Yeah, it'll be boring, but at least you'll be fucking making real money. Asian massage reviews, ? Sounds like a great job. Indeed it is, ma'am. There needs to be someone. Arms Private says, we have dumped to 105.5. Do you think we bounce to at least 109 before continuation? This is actually a really good question. Let's see. This will be fun. So basically, do I think we will bounce back up towards today's high? No. This is your next lower high right here, man. So I don't think you're going to be getting back above this high anytime soon. Or if you do, it's not going to stop at 109. It's going to go straight up to like 115, 116 probably if that were to happen. And I personally don't think that that's happening, but I just wouldn't look at that as relevant to begin with. To answer your question, no, I don't think so. I don't think this is a bounce area. I think this is a breakdown area. Cosmic says, it's amazing how far you can get in life just investing 20% of your income in the S&P. Yeah. It really is. It really is. And I really disregarded that for a long time, and that's my biggest regret long term. It's my biggest regret long term. Again, you can make a shit ton of money trading, but it'll only ever be income. In order to get wealthy, in order to become like truly rich and comfortable, it has to be invested, in my opinion. Unless you just inherit the money. But even then, you'd have to invest that inherited money. It is what it is, ma'am. It is what it is. American says, this really hurts. I got played. Never again with alts. I don't know what to do with my bags. Complete failure. Continued bleeding. Yeah, I mean, there's many such cases like this, man, and not to rub salt into the wound or anything like this. I'm not gonna like take this as a moment to be like, yeah, you fucking idiot, you played alts, like you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. There's no point in telling you that right now. Hopefully, though, what I can say is that you can hopefully be the person who only has to experience this once, because that is, in my opinion, the real diabolical thing with people who get involved in like the shitcoin relay. Yeah, almost everyone's going to get burnt once, but you should let it only be once. Don't fucking, play the same stupid game in the future. Even if you do see some of these things, pop off, just understand most of the people who are promoting these things, most of the people who are showing these incredible gains, it's all fucking fake, or they're not showing the full picture. I can assure you of this, man. I know a lot of these people. I don't like a lot of these people, and I think that is completely fucking disingenuous. I'll put it that way, man, and I'll just leave it there. Will alts ever recover? They've never recovered ever, man. They've never recovered ever. Like what do you mean recover? Okay, you think recover because you're probably thinking about Ethereum and thinking that this is like normal for what shitcoins do. Even Ethereum basically didn't recover. I mean, kind of did, kind of didn't. This would be a success case for a shitcoin, and it's not even great. Like, that's my point. It would be a success case for a shitcoin, and it's not even great. Let's talk about something that is just par for the course with your average shitcoin. I mean, let's go to, oh God, what's like a good example? I don't know, fucking, just like have to think of a random one right now. Actually, I have one on my list. We got AVAX right here. Is this ever going to recover? No, it's not. These are literal garbage. They're literal garbage. They're literal fucking garbage. Are they ever going to recover? No, because they never recover. They never have. They never have. Okay? Whatever your cycle high is, you never go above that ever again in 99.9% of cases. In the odd event that you do, bless your lucky stars, because you found the 0.0001% of shit that actually did, and it probably ain't gonna last for too long anyway. So you might as well sell or be thinking about selling relatively soon after that. It's like Dustin Time just read my mind. He's calling for AVAX. Look, this is a down only chart. You just had your last monthly swing lower high again. Like, this is so bad. It's so fucking bad. Like, it's so unbelievably bad. I can't overstate it. High, lower high, fresh lower high, okay? October was your confirmation of another lower high on an expanding downtrend on perfectly that green 55 EMA. This is like textbook shit. This is textbook shit. It will make a new low. It will make a new low. It might not be this month. It might not be next month. It might take a year. But I can assure you, if we fast forward 12 to 16 months from now, it will be lower. It will be lower. This is bad. This is bad. And it's not, it's, and then SUI over here, a lot of people were sold on SUI being the next fucking big thing because they heard so-and-so, talk great about it. Guys, you have to understand, like, when people are talking about their shitcoins, they're talking about their bags. And yeah, maybe they do believe in it, and that's very valid. I mean, perhaps they really do believe in it. But at the same time, like, they're not telling you about these things because, like, they want you to, never mind. I won't get into that because I don't actually know. I'm talking out of my asshole right there. But what I said before that is true. But yeah, look, garbage. Do I think it's ever going to go above $5 again? No. It had its chance. It failed on its chance. Like, when the chart tells you what it is, listen. Like, fucking listen. It's all there. It's all there in the price. It's all there in the price. We don't have different information. Like, we're all looking at the same information. Go back to Bitcoin here. Best alternative to Bitcoin is gold. I think gold is something that I'd like to get a position in, but not right now. I think I'll be waiting like a year or two for that one. What's up, Bear? Good to see you, man. The Quanto G, hell yeah. Tesla on the daily. We could look at Tesla really quick. I got on my list over here. Full disclosure, I do own Tesla. Not as big of a position as I'd like, though. I'll put it that way. But 470 bullish, man. We've been bullish on this one for a while. I'll continue to be bullish on it. I think you're going to see new all-time highs maybe this month, probably at least before end of year. Overall, very good, very strong. Here's your bi-monthly. If you do see a correction in November, I'd be looking somewhere around like 410 to 420. If that's if. Right now, this thing is just it's ready for a real breakout, I think. Yeah. Do you think we should buy into Bitcoin now or wait? Again, like, I hate these questions, man. The answer is obviously fucking no, but the answer is no, one, because it's obviously going down. And then two, you can't deduce that, and you can't deduce that for yourself. And also, I can't tell you to do that because, one, I'm not a financial advisor, so that's illegal. And then two, you need to be able to make decisions for yourself, man. Like, Could it be a good idea to buy Bitcoin right now if you just wanted to get your money out of the system? Yeah, maybe if that's your preference. Do I think price is going to go down more? Yeah, I do. Do I think Bitcoin is going to do better than most shitcoins? Yes. Do I think Bitcoin's also going to go down? Yes. So it just depends what you want, what your preference is, what you're trying to do, what your situation is financially, because the answer is not the same for everyone, man. And you need to be able to make these decisions for yourself. I can tell you what I'm doing. I'm not fucking buying here, but also I own plenty of Bitcoin. Like I don't need to buy here. I'm happy to wait for it to go lower. If anything, I want to be selling in this area right here. Same shit as what I've been saying for the past month. Like if you believe in the 4-year cycle, that should be your cycle high right there. I think Cosmic L also has stated it really, really well as well. He said, if your time horizon is 10 to 30 years, yeah, it's probably fine. If you have enough income to cover your expenses, and you don't have any worries there, putting your extra money in DCA at least a little bit into Bitcoin or stocks or whatever, not the worst decision of all time. Just understand it's going to go lower, so you better not need that fucking equity or funds anytime soon. Don't give yourself some goddamn breathing room. But if that is your situation, I could totally understand that as a valid decision. Josh Bean, the cycle is over. Get out on the next pump. Thanks for letting me know, man. I think you missed that last week. That was the pump, sir. That was the pump. It's down from here. Pelagic says USDC on Coinbase is 385 APY. Ain't bad. Yeah, I mean you get about the same APY for a money market right now on Vanguard. So I'd probably rather have my money in Vanguard, but I mean they're comparable. Same shit basically. More or less covering the cost of inflation, hopefully. Maybe not fully, but at least hopefully. What is your average cost base? What if your average cost basis is 80,000 for Bitcoin? I would be prepared to experience at least. I mean, ask yourself this: if you saw Bitcoin at 90 to 95,000 bucks, how would you feel? Do I think this low over here is going to hold? Again, though, do I think $80,000 price per Bitcoin is going to be a good average price long term? Like if we fast forward 10, 20 years from now, yeah, I think that's fine. But if this is money that you're going to need in an emergency situation, it's very possible, you do see that. You very well could see price action come back down around there if this really is the start of a bear market. I'm not of that opinion just yet personally. So yeah. Get what the hype says. If you're not making 12% returns or falling behind, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's the real price of inflation? What's the real inflation number, CPI number? Because obviously 3% is not really it. That's a very select basket of goods. So I don't know. Is 12% closer to the real number? I don't know about that. That seems pretty high, even for inflation. But I don't know. I really don't know. Probably whatever Trueflation says. What's up, Lomachilla? Ola Crown. Did you find the truck you're looking for? Don't get a Cybertruck. I actually have been into a Cybertruck, and honestly, I did not like it. I haven't gotten a truck yet, but I'm definitely exploring my options. I got a lot of really good suggestions. A lot of people love Ford, man. People love Ford F-150. But I've been looking at the GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate. I've been looking at the Dodge Ram Tungsten and the Ford F-150 Limited. All of those are it's really hard to decide, man. I don't know what the hell I'm doing in that space, so I'm trying to find an expert and be like, all right, sir, I just need you to walk me through this. Which one's the best? And I'll just go buy it. That's all I want. I'm wise enough to know that I don't know shit in that regard. USD purchasing power went down by 10% last year. What are you using to judge? I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just curious where are you getting that information from? Because I would like to know, just so that I can have a pulse on the beat, a beat on the pulse, a hand on the pulse, some sort of indication as to if that's true or not. Is what I'm trying to say. LP Philosopher says, "Good day. 10-day BBWP target in your opinion?" There is no 10-day BBWP target, man. 10-day BBWP is on the floor right now. Last time we saw something similar to this was June, July of 2024, and before that was August, July of 2023. So that was a 50% move to the upside over here and another 50% move to the upside over here. So upside moves are going to have different returns than downside moves. Let's see if we can find a downside example. Whoops. Yeah, not really a good one for the downside. It might be nasty, but I don't know. Can't draw a. Okay, I mean, look, this thing is coming down, guys. It's coming down. Get the GMC Sierra. I really do like that one, I will say. But goddamn, that miles per gallon is just atrocious. Really, it's bad. My brother-in-law has a Chevy Silverado. It actually looks pretty awesome as well. With the S&P at all-time highs, would you wait a little for a pullback to invest long-term, or would you start now with a broad spectrum ETF? If you're very long-term and this is money that you don't need tomorrow or don't need for like the next couple years, I think DCAing a small fraction, very small fraction every week is wise. And then when you see a big move to the downside, let's say 10% or more, then my position is that I like to hammer some bigger buys in there. But honestly, when you have an up-only asset, DCAing every week, a very small amount, but at least some, is actually quite smart from what I've learned and from what I've seen and from what I've experienced. You have to basically spread 40% of total M2 print out over 2 years over the following decades. Okay, I'm reading this out of context because I do want to see this. If a house sold for $350 3 years ago and now it's 500,000 and now you have a higher interest rate, yeah, inflation is way fucking higher, especially for wage earners that earn on a linear scale. Yeah, I do think this is obviously inflation hurts the people who are least financially literate. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Aren't moons showing up soon? They are, but maybe a bounce at 401. I mean, maybe, but I'm not of that opinion here. This is down. Like, if you're looking for the moons on this one, I regret to inform you. Look, moons are moons and stats are stats. So there is some hopium, I guess, but I think that it's going to be highly probable it'll be one of the failures. And keep in mind, right now is still a bare moon, if you will. It's easily 10% says get with the hype. Again, I'm just wondering, like, where are people like getting the really hard number from? I guess that housing quote. But again, just picking one house, as an example, that's not indicative of the rest of the market. That's not indicative of everything. Obviously, different geographical areas have completely different valuations right now. Some places are in a bear market for housing. Some places aren't necessarily in a bull market, but they're like par for the course, average. A pulsing hand on your beats, something like that. I think, Creighton, something like that, man. Can I get some hopium, sir? Well, if you press Alt and then I on your keyboard, you can look for some upside. But the upside is taking us to what? $100,000? That's weird. Yeah, man. I mean, there's always hopium. It's just very low probability, right? Space Nectar says, thoughts on Bitcoin potentially having an S-curve parabola like most technology adoption curve? Is S-curve, we're early adopted? I don't think we're early at all. I think the whole we're earlier than we've ever been today. Guys, I've been hearing that we're early since fucking, 2016, 2017. But now we are earlier than we've ever been. And I'm the youngest that I've ever been. I am the youngest man alive. Oh, yeah. I'm the youngest, baby. And this is earlier than we've ever been. I think Bitcoin goes up long term, man. Do I think it's going to go up exponentially? No, I think we've seen that. It's verifiably true that every cycle for Bitcoin has had lower returns in the past cycle. So I don't buy into that shit. I don't think that is provably false. This is just hopium spread by fucking Bitcoin influencers who are just as bad as these shitcoin influencers because they give people really bad expectations. Really fucking like unrealistic expectations. Now, do they actually believe that, or are they, spewing bullshit that they know is bullshit? I mean, intentions do matter, and I think that they actually do believe it. That's awesome, Jaden. That's awesome, man. You're asking about ALK Ripper Dip. Let's see. This is a stock, so might be doing something different. Hopefully, Alaskan Airlines. I think this is one of the shitty airlines, right? Is it a shitty airline? I don't know. This one's dip, but you're going to get a bounce soon, but it is a down chart. This is absolutely a downchart. Now, do you bounce off of this last low here at about 39.90 or $40 even? Probably, yeah. So maybe you got to bounce back up to like 44, maybe even gets all the way up to like 46. That's a big bounce percentage-wise. But I don't think that bounce is going to reverse things. I think that this thing comes down. Like, if we fast forward, a year and a half, 2 years out, I think you're going to see this thing down around like 30s. It's an ugly chart, ugly as fuck. We are redacted, sir. That's why shitcoins. Fair enough, Asti. Fair enough indeed. Going to look back on October liquidation event as the top. Lots of people lost confidence in any on-chain activity. If they didn't lose confidence in it before, then they're just fucking retarded because the altcoins have been going down only up until that event. They just went down more during that event. Like, at what fucking point do people pick up the goddamn phone and listen to the fucking message? Like, it's unbelievable the amount of hopium that can bring up and prop up this bullshit. It's total fucking bullshit, man. Gun to the head, which 3 sectors in TradFi do you think are most lucrative long-term? Defense technology, because that's an absolute need. Maybe rare earths, but I don't know. And then just technology in general, but like triple Qs, I think that's always a good bet. Like technology is our way forwards. That's what humans are obsessed with promoting and creating and iterating on, even if like things are pretty fucking good right now compared to, 10, 20 years ago, let alone, 500 years ago. We're just obsessed with making more technology. So technology in general, defense technology, and I don't know, probably AI and robotics is not going to be bad in the next 10 years, 20 years, something like that. At least these are the things that I've primarily focused on. So again, I'm talking my book here. I am biased. Naturally, we all talk from, some frame of reference, right? And my frame of reference is that is correct. So, I'm talking my book there. Absolutely. I can explain why, of course, as well. But that's what I've actually invested in myself. So I can tell you that, at least I put my money where my mouth is. And I put out a video on exactly what my investments are there as well. But yeah, I generally just focus on big ETFs for the majority of my of the equity that I put to work there, and the rest, and then like maybe 30% I put to individualistic stocks. I appreciate that, Dustin. Time. Look, I'm not always gonna be right, man, but at least I give you my unbiased opinion. Like, it is what it is. 94 to 100,000, then final peak on December 1st at Shrewd Capital. I'd like that if it's true. I don't know if it's going to be true. I do think we're going to see some downside here. Yeah. And then hopefully this is going to be like a rip the Band-Aid off situation and Bitcoin bounces back soon after that. I think that would be great, but down first and figure out the rest of it later, I guess. I just like Moon Kid, bad influence. I don't know, Mood Kid. What is Fiboswani's threshold on Bitcoin? I don't know, but he's actually going to come back onto the channel next Monday, so a week from today. So we'll get his opinion at that time. But if I do recall, while his upside targets may not have been hit, his timing for October is looking like it's going to be pretty fucking on the money. But we'll see, man. Don't forget about the waste management sector. For long-term, people always have dog shit that needs to be thrown away. True, yeah. But my problem with anything that's not technology is that, are you really growing in productivity? And like, can the market for that, like, can businesses in that market produce even greater profits than what they're already producing right now? Because that's where like true growth is going to come from. And that's why technology makes a lot more sense to me, because technology, well, I mean, maybe there's dog shit picking up technology, perhaps. But again, that would fall under technology. That's going to be picked up by the technology sector anyway. So, yeah. We looked at TAO earlier. TAO is admittedly one of the, I think it's the only crypto chart that looks genuinely different than anything else. It did not surpass my number for closure to confirm a breakout. It was 494 on the weekly closure. It did not close above there, but it's still in actually a strong position here. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it right now. If it can close above 494, I do think you could have a legitimate breakout to about $600. But for right now, it did not fulfill the closure that I needed to see on a weekly in order to get bullish on something like this. On the other side, I would say I'd get bearish on this thing if you do come back down below last Wednesday's low, which is 390. Oh, you meant Carl Moon and Crypto. I don't know Crypto Kid, I don't think, or maybe I met him. Carl Moon I've actually met one or two times, I think. But I wouldn't say that I know them quite that well. Do you think time analysis can be done seeing Fibbo do it every cycle? I don't know if he's done it every cycle, but definitely for this cycle he has. So yeah, can timing be done? I mean, that has been the one thing that has been consistent from cycle to cycle is, it is the 4-year cycle for a reason. And it's looking, I mean, right now we have no evidence to say that the 4-year cycle is not broken. We could look at Zcash really quick, and then I think we shut this stream off. It's been a pretty fun stream, man. I've been having a lot of good times. Whoops, I forgot the ticker there. There we go. Is it finally topping out? I don't know. Weekly is not necessarily a top just yet. Daily, short-term high, sure. 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence here. So I do think you are going to come down and correct to maybe like $300. If things get really crazy and Bitcoin crashes to like 90, then maybe see this thing as like 250. But, let it come down here a little bit and cool off and then come back to it after that. But I do think you found a short-term high. I don't know if this is going to be the next like long-term high. Hard one though. Hard one again. We have something that's doing something that is acting genuinely different than the rest of the market. So this one is like TAO and always makes it difficult. All right, guys. It's been a very, very, very fun stream. I've enjoyed all of the commentary, all of the conversations. I absolutely love doing these. I look forward to doing it every time that we do a live stream. And it's because the community here is just so fucking engaging and so much fun, man. So hopefully we can keep it like this. We'll be back on with another live stream on Wednesday. Obviously tomorrow I will do my regular uploaded video, focusing on the monthly statistics and all of this, and all of the new setups and whatnot that are emerging and the ones that are still coming to fruition right now. And other than that, just want to wish everyone the best of the best. We'll be back on, like I said, basically tomorrow. Yeah, other than that, wishing everyone the best of the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.